today we are reading from the Bhagavad Gita, from the 12th chapter, which is called Devotional Service. And we are reading text 6 to 7, which has also a little longer purport. Srila Prabhupada gave it a little longer purport because it is an important verse. It's a relevant verse, it's a very positive, optimistic verse, and has a very nice analogy inside also. Good. So these are two verses actually. They belong together. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matparaha ananyena eva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamahang samudartha mrityu sangsara sagarat bhavamina chirat partha maya vishita chetasam. Translation. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So, before we start the purport, as I said, which is a little long, like, not a little long, like 2 pages, 12 Kapitel, Vers 6 bis 7.
6 bis 7.
12, 6 bis 7. So that we go a little slower, not just read everything, and at times it's difficult to listen to everything also if you just read it. So first, in this verse, Krishna explains a couple of qualities and activities which we have to perform, which are so powerful, which are so effective, which impress Krishna so much, that he says, I will deliver such a devotee very quickly. Very quickly. For him there is no question of not delivering. So his mercy is invoked if we abide by these words. And he gives a very nice analogy of the ocean of birth and death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. Sagara is the ocean, and mrityu is death, and samsara is this cycle. So this repeated dying, the ocean of repeated dying is crossed by the mercy of Krishna. And not just crossed, it's more, he says, I deliver them from this ocean. So it's not that we cross it, so we are more delivered. We are taken out of this ocean in which we would normally drown. Normally, if you would drop in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, take any ocean. Yeah, ocean is a huge body of water, tremendously huge. So imagine you're dropped in the middle of this ocean. Somewhere or other, fall from a ship, fall from a plane, I don't know, swim in the ocean and miss the way home, and suddenly you're in the middle of the ocean. How you want to survive that? It's impossible. You cannot survive. How you want to survive that? Not even the best swimmer can survive it if you are lost in the ocean. So Krishna says this material world, or this ocean, is the ocean of repeated dying, of repeated death. So, meaning you cannot get out of this ocean, you will die and die and die and die again, which means also you have to live again and again. And this is rather painful for the soul, because material life is actually troublesome and painful. And Krishna says, but if you do that, what he is recommending here, I become this swift, and the word is chirat. Chirat means very quickly. Very quickly I will take him out. So you're in this ocean, you're drowning, but suddenly there comes some help. Boat, saving boat, and they take you out into the boat and you're saved, and everything is over, everything is done, you're saved. So Krishna says like this, someone who, and what are these qualities? First, yetu sarvani karmani, meaning you who is doing everything, every activity for Krishna. Sarvani karmani. Every activity, all you do it for Krishna. So it's the first thing. First thing we have to do. Everything for Krishna. Which is not easy, of course, but possible. Maya sanyasya matparaha. Maya sanyasya, someone who is surrendering everything to me. This is sannyas, but it's not the the ashram of sannyas, it's the lifestyle of sannyas, which is the lifestyle of a devotee, to surrender everything to Krishna. Yeah? Devote everything to Krishna. Give up everything for Krishna. Ananya neva yogena, and being exclusively engaged in bhakti yoga. Yeah? So you do nothing else. Madhyayanta upasate, and you always think about Krishna. You always meditate about Krishna, upasate, and you worship him. So if you do that, then Krishna says, Tesham aham samudarta, I become this, samudarta means deliverer, the savior of such a devotee who so nicely, so much engaged in devotional service. I become the deliverer of mrityu samsara sagarat, of this ocean of death. Bhavami nachirat parta, bhavami means I become very quickly. Nachirat means not long. Nachirat means, because chira means actually long, and nachirat means not. It will not take long. I will immediately respond. Krishna says, I will immediately respond. Maya avishita chetasam, to those whose minds, chetas, are fixed on me. So, this is the verse, and now the purport. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. Okay, so Prabhupada explains here in the first paragraph that the devotee is very fortunate because he is in the best position possible. He is serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we are not serving God, we are serving Maya. And serving Maya means doing useless things. Even these things seem to be very important, very relevant. Actually, it's useless. Why? Because it's temporary. It will not last. It will go away. It will be forgotten. It will be dissolved. And it will be gone. And it will be as if it would have never existed. Now, a big businessman like Mark Zuckerberg, who everyone knows, he founded Facebook, he's so famous, and he created something. Why is he famous? Because he created something which is used by more than 1 billion people in the world, sometimes at the same time. It's very powerful, a powerful tool. I think this is, in the modern history at least, the thing what is used by most of the people. Well, one platform of the internet. 1 billion people in the world. Out of 7 billion people, 1 billion is using it. It's a lot, right? And he's the founder of it. He's famous, he's rich, he's all that. How can he be not relevant in the modern world? Yeah, he will die. Oh, but Facebook will stay. Okay, but it will, one day it will also be gone. And then you might only remember Facebook. It will be something in the history books, what the kids will learn. Once upon a time there was a guy named Mark Zuckerberg, and he founded Facebook. What is for Facebook? Yeah, it was this and that, and for communication, blah blah blah. Yeah, as we read now about maybe Gutenberg, who founded the printing press, or as we read about Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. Okay, we still use them, but there are other things which are not in use anymore. So they are just things which are then written in a history book, and that's it. And then with time, because time is very powerful, is the most powerful destroyer in the world, is time, as Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am time, which is the destroyer of all the worlds. It will destroy also the remembrance of Mark Zuckerberg. And there will come a time when nobody knows that Mark Zuckerberg ever existed and that Facebook was ever used by 1 billion people. And then time will pass and it will be completely gone. And then, how relevant is Facebook? Super zero relevant. Not relevant at all. Nobody even knows that it existed. So this is the nature of any material activity. This is the nature of any Mayic activity. It will be gone and it will be not relevant. And in that sense, it's illusion. And in that sense, it's useless. It's illusion. So in a devotee, he knows this very well. He is completely convinced about that. And he knows, why should I invest in an illusion, in a temporary? It will bring nothing. Even Mark Zuckerberg will not know that he created Facebook in 1 billion years. He will not have any knowledge about his having been Mark Zuckerberg. In the same way, for us, what's the relevance now? Building empires, making so much money or impact in the world, having an impact and footprint in the history of the world, if it will be gone and dissolved. And even ourselves we will forget that we ever did it. Isn't it? So the devotee knows this very well. He's very much convinced about the nature of the world. He's convinced about this, the temporary nature of the world. He says, I'm only engaging in devotional service. But because, especially we as beginner devotees, we don't know that. We don't know. We know it theoretically. Now we heard it in a class, we have maybe read it in the books, maybe we have some little clue about it, but not in a practical way. And this is the reason why we're still attracted to Maya. This is the reason why we're still engaging in Maya and scrolling down on the Facebook. This is the reason, because we don't know, and we're wasting our time. As Prabhupada says, don't waste time. This time you could have been used in substantial activity. Substantial activity means an activity which really leaves an imprint. Meaning a spiritual activity which brings you further towards Krishna. And this advancement will stay forever. Whereas material advancement, it will go back and forth, left and right, and dissolving. It's actually useless. As is said, it's an illusion, right? So a devotee knows this and is not anymore, it's this intellectual conviction, and he might have, especially beginner devotee, he has this conviction, but he might have inclinations towards Maya, but he knows that, and this knowledge will save him from wasting the time. Whereas the very advanced devotee does not have any more inclinations towards Maya. So it's said there's a devotee, like a material, if you have here the material, spiritual world and here the material world, and here's the border, microphone is the border. The karmi is the one who is in the material world, the materialist, the vikarmi, however you want to call him. He is with both his legs in the material world, completely engaged in the material world, never looking into the spiritual world, never seeing the spiritual world, never thinking. This is a border which is kind of a huge wall which separates these worlds, and this guy does not know that there's a world beyond this wall. This is the materialist, and he runs in this material world, up and down, doing this and that. So, then there is the searcher of truth. This means a material person who has both his legs in this world, but he has already knowledge and he turns towards the spiritual world and he looks, and he can look over the wall. Maybe the wall doesn't exist to him. Anyway, he knows, there is actually a world beyond, but he's still in the material world. He just looks to the spiritual world. He's gravitating there, but still in this material world. And then is the one who practices devotional service, and he is on the border. He's in the margin. He has one leg in the material world and one leg in the spiritual world. Right? And he's living kind of in both worlds, meaning he has inclinations towards both. He's liking to chant, he likes Krishna, but still he's struggling with anarthas. He has still attachments. He's on the border. Right? And then there's the devotee who dissolved this issue, these problems, and he is with both legs in the spiritual world. And he left it already. So we are kind of like this. We're not the guy who's running in the material world, know nothing about the spiritual world. We're not the one who's just looking there and maybe one day, or hoping, or just believing. No, we are already engaged in devotional service. We have both legs, one in the spiritual, one in the material world. So in that sense, we are in this Maya's pulling and Krishna's pulling, and we still have this conflict and struggling. This is called anishtita bhajana kriya. Anishtita bhajana kriya means unsteady devotional service. One day you are, wow, I like to chant, and I go, oh, is everything wonderful, and other days you're not like to chant, you don't like to go to Mangalarti, you don't like to. You know you should want, and maybe there's some bad feeling, but somehow or other we are not powerful, strong enough to engage completely in devotional service. And then with time, this will get purified and our bhajan becomes strong, that we are nishta, a platform of nishta. After narta niriti is nishta. Nishta means steady. You do everything as it should be and engage in devotional service in steadiness. And when you do that, then comes ruchi. Because there's no interference in your bhajan, right? You do steady devotional service, and ruchi, a taste, is the natural consequence. But if you do devotional service and you always stop and do some maya activity or this and that, of course the taste will never really develop, isn't it? It's clear. Because it's like you go forward and you stop and you go the other direction, right? It's back and forth, back and forth. Okay. So this was the first paragraph. Oops, there's still so much. Okay. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. Okay, this was the second paragraph. Interesting point here was a devotee can sacrifice everything for Krishna. And I think most of us, all of us, did like that. There was a time when you liked the Beastie Boys. Maybe. Or anything, right? Or your favorite band, your favorite movie, your favorite, whatever to eat, whatever, right? There was a time you had some favorite friends, this and that. And then you come in contact with Krishna. And you see that your favorite is actually nonsense. It's Maya. And what you do? You stop it. You give it up. Isn't it? You give it up. And Krishna values this very well. You like so much the Beastie Boys. How can you not miss the Beastie Boys anymore? How is this possible? Because Krishna, you don't like it. You don't like Beastie Boys. You like the soul of these Beastie Boys, but you don't like their nonsense music. And Krishna is very pleased. So a devotee is the one who really gives up everything for Krishna. And only listens then to Kirtan, right? He does everything to please the Lord. Eats only prasadam. All this simple devotional service, what we do, these simple devotional practices are very pleasing to Krishna because we want to become his devotees, isn't it? And some things are not easy to give up. For some, they are very attached to the Beastie Boys. I say, it's not possible. And some devotees, I give up Beastie Boys, no problem. I drop all the CDs in the bin and I don't have them, or I store them somewhere in my, and then I become a devotee, and then after some years, because we are not completely determined, my old CDs, I'll go back home and listen, it was so nice. Huh? Many devotees do like that. They have a time of enthusiasm, of dedication, and I give everything up for Krishna, become a brahmachari, become a brahmacharini, and be engaged in devotional service, and all this Maya nonsense is not relevant. But later, suddenly, it's like our old karma is always running after us, because we are running very fast in devotional service, but the old karma is still running after us. And when you slow down, it catches you. Very often. Devotees change into white or something, and suddenly the Beastie Boys are back. The old Beastie Boys always run after you. Ding, 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 ding. Isn't it? Yeah, that's the problem. So that means we should always engage very determined in devotional service. We should not slow down, actually. We should always Not that we run or be in passionate devotional service. Of course, it should be done in a very sattvic way. This running example shouldn't be understood in a passionate way. But we should go deep in our devotional practice, always surrender, always try to have Krishna in our hearts and pray and be very dedicated. And then we will not be touched by the Beastie Boys. We will be always faster than them. They can run as fast as they like, we will be always much faster. Right? Next paragraph. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay He will deliver a pure devotee thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways, but as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord Himself takes him. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself into the spiritual sky. This is very nice. Prabhupada says here, you don't have to be so advanced because to go to the spiritual world. It's not that you have to go. Krishna will take you. This is what Prabhupada says here. Prabhupada is the Acharya, right? So we should believe in him. He says, just engage in devotional service as good as you can, and the Lord is so pleased by that, He will take you out and put you in the spiritual world. Very nice. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears, Nayami Padamam Stanam Archir Adigatam Vina Garuda Skandam Aropya Yatecham Anivaritaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord Himself. He clearly states here that He Himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by His great mercy, comes at once riding on His bird carrier Garuda and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. I think this is the punchline of this verse and purport. Prabhupada quotes here, rather paraphrasing a verse from the Varaha Purana. Nayami Padamam Stanam Archir Adigatim Vina Garuda Skandam Aropya Yatecham Anivaritaha. And this rest of the purport was a paraphrase. It was not a translation in that sense, it was an explanatory translation, like a purport to this verse. So that Krishna Himself, Krishna is the rider of Garuda, and he's flying in and rescuing the devotee who is sincerely engaged in devotional service and takes him out of this ocean, takes him out of this material world, right? But the point is here, fully engaged. It's not that we should think, oh, okay, because now I'm a devotee, I have some neck beads, and now Krishna will take me. And sometimes, I never explain like that, but it's said, devotees have a seeker that Krishna can pull them out of the material world. Sometimes you read that, is it true that Hare Krishna believe like that? And I don't think like that, but I don't think the seekers that Krishna will pull me out, but maybe you can think like this. Has other reasons, more social reasons. But this is the point. Krishna will take us out if we are fully engaged in devotional service. We should not think, oh, I like paneer steaks with tomato chutney and puris, so Krishna will take me out of the material world. And I like halava also. I think this is enough. Krishna, I like halava, this is enough. No, fully engaged in devotional service. Fully engaged in devotional service. With body, minds and words. This is what it means. With body, mind and words. If you do like this, no problem. Krishna will take you out. But we should practice this. Yeah? And for this we need Nishta Vajana Kriya. Nishta, this platform. Before with Anart, because when we have Anartas, it will not be fully. Isn't it? Because if there are Anartas, you always stop, you do something else. You listen to Kirtan, Hare Krishna, now it's enough, and then you listen to Beastie Boys again. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, so it's always, Krishna, I don't know if he will save you then. Maybe, yeah, maybe he's merciful, but maybe not. You shouldn't play with his mercy. Right? So fully engaged in devotional service, and this is only possible if the anarthas overcome. If there is no, these material desires are not there anymore. What is material desire? Material desire is I want to enjoy the material world, anything in the material world. If this is given up and it's very weak, and it can be only given up if our taste for Krishna is strong. If we really experience taste in the holy name, if you have taste for the holy name, if it's even slight, go into it, make it bigger. If you have taste for the Bhagavatam, for Krishna Katha, for Vaishnav Seva, you must have some taste. Why are you here? There is some taste. It's not just because you read it or whatever reason. You have some taste to experience some satisfaction devotional service. And you might not experience satisfaction devotional service for all devotional practices, isn't it? Some devotees are struggling with the japa, some don't like to read so much, some don't like to get up for Mangalartik, some don't, whatever, right? It's not that we like all of them, maybe. But some of them, some maybe more. So that what you like, expand that, so that this covers the whole day, so to say, yeah? That you always engage. So, and then there's no room for Maya anymore. This is actually one of the recommended tricks. It's not that you have to love everything. You will, I guess, because everything is nice and beautiful. But still, we might not, like myself, in the beginning I had no taste for Kirtan. When I went to the temple, I had some taste for it. Maybe it's a little exaggerated, but it was not so strong. I went to the temple for the lectures. I couldn't wait until the singing was over and the lecture started. I was interested in the philosophy. This was my interest. So some are the other way around. They say, "Oh man, when is he stopping to speak? I want to sing." And some are, "When is this all over? I want to eat." Yeah, whatever reason might be there. But go into your taste. What is your taste? Yeah. So in the Narayaniya, this is confirmed as follows: Yavai sadhana sampati purushartha chatushtaye taya vinatat apnoti naro narayanashrayaha. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. Okay, so I think this is very clear. Yeah, we should chant, and this is also the reason why we should really have a taste for the holy name. Work on our japa. Sometimes devotees don't have taste, they don't like to chant, it's a drag for them, they fall asleep, they are not really listening, and we should really work on our japa, it's crucial. And tomorrow is Ekadashi, as far as I know, so this is a very good day for practicing japa, chant some extra rounds, work on it. And Prabhupada says here, easily and happily you will approach the supreme goal. That what is normally very difficult to achieve is very easy for those who have the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he gave us the holy name. So last paragraph. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekang sharanang raja ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shuchaha. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not entirely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the supreme omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. So Prabhupada with his merciful words in the end prays here, let everyone take shelter of the supreme omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. And he quotes this key verse of Bhagavad Gita, which every devotee should know by heart, even those who don't learn many verses. Everyone should know this verse. Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekang sharanang vraja ahang tvang sarva papebhyo mokshayami ma shucha ha. Yeah. This, if you know this verse, then it's okay. This is very important. Huh? Just give up everything, Krishna says to Arjuna. Give up all activities, give up all dharma. Just surrender to me. I will save you from all papa, means sin. Ahang tvang sarva papebhyo. And do not fear. Right? Do not fear. So this is what we should do. We should surrender our life with our body, with our words and our mind, with our heart to Krishna. We shouldn't be afraid. We should not hesitate. We should have trust in Krishna. And as Prabhupada says here, so we can easily and happily reach the supreme destination, which is Goloka Vrindavan, the association of Vrajendra Nandana, of the lover of Srimati Radharani and the Lord of Vrindavan. This is our supreme goal. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions? Yes?
You mentioned that we should become steady, and how we become steady in the mind?
Yeah, steady in the mind means to put the mind, focus the mind on Krishna. As we start with the japa, this is a very good example, right? In japa, you can see where your mind goes. Our mind goes most of the time everywhere. You should always bring the minds back to Krishna, to the holy name. We should understand that the name is not different from Krishna. This is who has never heard this? The holy name is Krishna himself. Who has never heard it? Everyone has heard it. Everyone knows that. But what does it mean? It means the name is Krishna. So when you hear the name, you hear Krishna. You are together with Krishna. You think about Krishna. Don't have to think about anything else. Krishna is the name. And this will be experienced. The taste of the name will, as Prabhupada says, the holy name, Krishna is dancing on your tongue. Right? Prabhupada says that Krishna is dancing on your tongue because you chant the holy name. The name is Krishna. He's dancing on your tongue. Right? So we have to work on that to experience that. And when we are not chanting, so this is practical, you know, how to put the mind on Krishna when you chant. And when you are reading, you should put the mind on what you read. When you do service, be conscious that you do it for Krishna. Very easy. Always put the mind on the Krishna factor in the situation. And don't go here, don't go there. And experience a taste for it. Not just an intellectual thing, but there should be Krishna's mercy and love should be experienced through this. I think it's a very important factor. There's an indication for that you, in the right way, put your mind on Krishna. That there is the mercy coming. And this is the reason why devotee is always happy. Because he has this pleasure in his heart. Okay? Anything else?
Yes. Can I have a question?
Yeah, please.
As far as I understood so far, that Anartha Nivritti is not a separate stage, but it lasts simultaneously during the other stages. So, how we acknowledge that Anartha Nivritti is in progress, and what should be our behavior towards the Anarthas that are going on the surface?
I don't 100% understand the question. First part understood, yeah, of course. Anartha Nivritti goes longer, it's not stopped with Nishta, so it keeps on going. There are more subtle Anarthas which stays, but this other part.
Goes until which stage?
Anartha Nivritti?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's said until Prema, because we know Bharat Maharaj, he was on Bhava and he had some anarthas or whatever it was, what he did wrong, but he was falling from his level, yeah.
Yes, I also understood, but I didn't know if I understood right also until Prema. And what should be the other part of the question?
Yeah.
What should be our behavior when the anartha, when we see that anarthas appear, you know, because this hurts.
It hurts.
Yes. If you're sincere, you can clearly see
Yeah.
what's going on. But
Yeah.
you know, if you put yourself in the position of the victim, you can do anything. What is the best appropriate behavior in the situation?
Yeah, good question. So first thing is we should always understand that we still have anarthas.
Yeah.
Then we are not so much shocked when they come. Because if you say it hurts and you are like surprised, that means you think you don't have any anarthas anymore. Meaning you think yourself more advanced than you are in reality. Right? So this is the first thing. A devotee always understands that he is actually very fallen, that he's very neophyte, and has lots of bad qualities. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, it's a high level, but he expresses his bad attitude and mind all the time, because he's a pure devotee and he is very humble, and he sees or just feels himself very humble and expresses himself as a great sinner in that sense. So humility is I think it's the solution for everything in devotional service, because when you're humble, you accept that you have anarthas, that you're proud, that you're greedy, that you are aggressive, that you are lazy, or whatever it is, right? Everyone has his issues. And then you acknowledge it, but try to work on it. You're not playing the victim card. Oh, I'm so fallen, I'm so lazy, this is the reason why I'm like that. You know, because I am so lazy, I will always be lazy, and it's okay to be lazy. Or I'm so unfriendly, I cannot control my tongue, I have to offend people, it's how I am, No, you should understand, this is not me, I have to work on this is my issue, this is my duty in this life to work on this certain anarthas, because actually it's a great mercy that you see the anarthas, because they are always there. It's not that they infect you like a virus, right? They are your anarthas, and they come out in certain situations, and it is painful to see that, admit that, especially in front of others. If others see them, if you're alone in your room and you become aggressive because of any reason, you kind of can tolerate it. But if you're aggressive in the association of devotees, everyone thinks, "My God, she is really crazy," or something. It's like, "Oh God, what was I doing?" Right? This is even more painful. But humility and devotees are anyway not so unmerciful, I think. Maybe sometimes. More than neophyte devotees, they misuse your inappropriate behavior. Anyways, humility, I guess, it's very important. And to really understand, humility means you really understand. Like I gave a lecture a couple of days ago where I spoke about this. You have to really admit to yourself that you're an idiot. I am an idiot. I am an idiot. And it's really beautiful. It's satisfying. It's delivering. If you say, I am an idiot. And the problem is, then you think you're humble. Oh, I admit that I'm an idiot. And then you become proud that you admit that you're an idiot. I'm a proud idiot. Yeah. So the ego is very tricky. But some are rather humility. Okay. Good, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
If you have association or you are in close association with other devotees, and you know that these other devotees, they are chanting inattentively, and after realization, it's kind of disturbing for me. If you have a devotee is near you, or you are near with a devotee who is chanting inattentively, he is doing even maybe other things during chanting. What is a nice way, or what is a good way to tell him, maybe even to help him not do it, or is it at all my duty to do it, or should I let him do? Is it offensive? Because for me it's like kind of, I can't say nothing. I can just let it be. But I feel that's not really correct. I think that's not good. So I would like to tell this devotee, please, this is completely...
Yeah, that depends. Maybe I'll repeat the question for the camera. So the question is, if a devotee is not chanting properly and we see that, should we say something? Is our duty to say it? How should we do something? I would say it depends on the relationship. That's the first thing. If you have either you are a friend or you are an authority of that person, it's no problem to tell it. So, but if you are not in a relationship with this person, then because the ego is there, and why should you bother, and maybe we are even proud to correct someone, or we should be very careful. But if there is a relationship, especially if this is a friend of mine, or I have a close relationship where I know there's no problem, I can tell, or I'm like an authority of that person, yeah, it's very good. And in normal cases, okay, and then we have to formulate it also in a nice way. We cannot say, hey, Prabhu, you're chanting like completely spaced out, what's that nonsense? Then it should be said, oh, Prabhu, I see you are trying so hard to chant nice rounds, and it's very inspiring for me because I also try to work on my japa, but sometimes I see that your japa is not so attentive out of any reason, and maybe you try to correct it. Say it in a nice way. Maybe not also in the situation. Maybe not in the situation. Let it pass and tell it in the right moment. So the right moment is also good. And normally a devotee is very happy if, oh, thank you very much that you saw that, and it helps. But if, I forgot, there's a Sanskrit saying, someone says murka. Murka means like a fool. A fool gets angry when he's corrected. Isn't it? So we are all fools, so we all get angry more or less. So we should be careful. But actually it's stupid. Someone tells you something good and you get angry. So we should be careful. But if someone is intelligent, he says, oh, yes, thank you so much. That's very good that you correct me. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaur Premanande.